Hey, let's do an introduction to the episode, one that I might actually remember to attach to the episode.
Yeah, apologies if our last Matrix review was a bit confusing. We did record an introduction and we forgot to put it on the beginning of it.
So it started with me singing. And yeah, I mean, it was fine. It kind of worked.
It felt like a very cold open, and there wasn't a lot. Yeah. There wasn't a lot. Having done the introduction episode, I think I referred to the introduction at one point.
Yes,
which,
I think you did.
Yeah,
yeah.
But so, yes, apologies for that if that was
Sorry
confusing.
About that. We are now doing an introduction. Hopefully, this has made its way into the episode. So
Merry Matrixmas, anyway.
Yes, hello again. We're back. We're doing The Matrix Reloaded. I don't know why I have to pause whenever I'm thinking of the film titles.
Well, I think because Reloaded and Revolutions came out the same year, I think there is a natural just which one's which.
Yes, and Resurrections is the next one. So yes. Right.
Yes.
Good. So we're on Reloaded, which is the second of the original trilogy. What do you remember about this? We touched on this slightly in the introductory episode.
Yeah.
A few episodes back. So what do you remember about it?
Sweet FA.
Yeah, I think that's it. And all I can remember is Harold Perrineau.
Michael from Lost uses proper name.
Obviously,
yes.
And Zion. We're going to go back to Zion, or we're going to go to Zion, because that was mentioned in The Matrix, but we didn't actually get to see it.
Iron,
do you not
like a lion in Zion. No.
You're looking blank.
We did, just to peek behind the curtain, we've both been to see West Side Story this weekend.
That's going to date this.
Yeah. I was relieved to find out that the Matrix trailer made a hell of a lot more sense this time, and had a hell of a lot more references.
I really like the trailer because I don't think it gives away the plot in any way, shape or form. But when we looked at The Matrix, you hadn't quite grabbed onto all of the Alice in Wonderland references, the biblical, we talked about that, didn't you? The symbolism sort of not passed you by, but it wasn't something that you had clung on to.
Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's amazing, actually. That song just... It's actually, I find it quite creepy that so many of the lyrics just work for it, doesn't it? It's Anyway, so it made a lot more sense to you, the latest trailer.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a hell of a trailer, that, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Now I've got a bit more context.
And actually, every time I see it, I think, I don't really want to see it anymore, because it might just do something or show something, but it hasn't. Every time I think I've seen it sort of 4 or 5 times now, and even in the cinema I was thinking, should I close my eyes and just not watch this? But I didn't get anything plot wise from it. I just thought, wow, that looks just really good. Yeah, excited.
So this came out 4 years after The Matrix. Do you know, was this planned at the time that The Matrix came out?
You asked me that last time, on the last episode.
I thought you might have done some research.
Once again, I know not.
Okay.
No, I mean, I still think I'm not convinced, because you had that system failure, you had that, but the Wachowskis may say that they had it all in their head, they had more narrative. But I think
so did the makers of Lost.
But I think you do as creative people, not that I'm one of them, but I can imagine creative people do have all of the, you're not just going to, that's my one story and that's going to be it. Yeah. Other people say, what happened to Neo next? What's happened to Trinity? Where, tell me more about Zion. You're going to have all of that sort of working around in your head, I would imagine.
I don't know if this is a self-contained story or if we have sort of a Lord of the Rings Dune ending of Neo walking off into the desert and then to be continued.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, sure.
In my head, these were all 3 hours, 4 hours long.
Yeah.
They're not, are they? They're just 2 hours.
Don't think so.
I looked beforehand. They're the same length. They're about 2 hours 15.
That's
so
good. Yeah.
that's instant star from me.
I think it will be interesting to see what has happened within that 4-year period. I know for Keanu Reeves, major things happened in his personal life in between the Matrix and Matrix Reloaded.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that when we come back. Because I'd like to see if it shows in the performance. I want to just see if those things come through.
Did he take acting lessons?
Mark, actually, no. You know what? When I tell you what's happened, you will regret making that joke.
Okay.
So I think things did not go well in his personal life. So I do wonder whether, 4 years on, having known the character, things happening in your own life, maybe he's going to bring something different to it, because I don't want to suggest that these things magically made him into a different type of actor, but I wonder if you can see it on his face. I wonder if the plot lines that might bring back those sorts of ideas, might sit more heavily with them. I don't know what. Anyway, we'll have a look and see what happens. But also, I also know that there was a character in the first film that did not come back and really fell out with the producers and the Wachowskis, and I think essentially spoke very badly of it. It all became not very nice. So it was written out of the second film that we're going to see.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'll see when we watch the film, see what happens in terms of the characters. People who survive at the end of the first one, there's a few. A lot of them die. So it's actually thinking
about Dozer
then. Wrong one.
Tank.
But yeah. So yeah, see what the second film does with that thing.
He died on the way to his home planet.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hiya, fellas.
It's him.
Do we proceed? Yes. He is still
Only human.
all of our lives. We have fought this war. Tonight, I believe we can end it.
That's a nice trick.
Upgrades.
Mr. Anderson.
Surprised to see me?
So he's found a way to copy himself.
Now there's more than one of them. A lot more.
Come on! The machines are digging. They're boring from the surface straight down to Zion.
There is only one way to save our city. Neo.
What happens if I fail?
Then Zion will fall.
They need you.
I need you.
What if the prophecy is true? What if tomorrow the war could be over? Isn't that worth fighting for? Isn't that worth dying for?
Well, that's not the 16th best film ever made.
Can I make a controversial point?
I don't think it will be controversial. Carry on.
I think this is underrated.
What? Oh my god, what is wrong with you? Okay, that is controversial. That is controversial. This film is terrible, Mark.
I think the Wachowskis got it wrong, misunderstood what people wanted. But there is a half an hour spell in the middle of this, which is absolutely pure fun. And it's not. And I think if this half hour was at the end of the film, this would be remembered very, very differently.
But you would still need all of the beginning. Like you're saying, put the half hour at the end of the film, but you would still have the start of the film.
It might, yeah, you've got a fair point.
Maybe because it's extended throughout the whole of the film, fine.
But I think the reputation of this film is that it's absolutely useless. And I don't think that's the case. I mean, there is a long time of Zion.
Oh, Zion. No one cares about Zion.
And that was just misjudged.
Yeah.
Because I don't think... Do people care about the world outside the Matrix?
I think there is potential for them to do so. So if I'm thinking about...
Sorry, an extended world, beyond what we saw in the first film.
I'm thinking about... Oh, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about Star Wars, but I'm also thinking about films like Alien or the Alien franchise, where it was interesting to see what happened on the planets. but they were done in a very specific way, whereas this is just, oh, what's outside of the Nebuchadnezzar? Oh, there's a great big tunnel down system that's a cave with lots of layers to it. And then
Morpheus is going to stand on a green screen and address people.
Morpheus is going to be John the Baptist again, but even more so this time. So no subtlety whatsoever. He is just John the Baptist. And
it looks really bad.
It looks really bad. And we'll come back to the CGI in a bit, I'm sure. But then, you know, what is Zion? Zion's full of annoying teenagers, people who think Neo is some kind of religious figure, which we kind of got from the first one with all the symbolism.
Kind of, yeah. It was subtly mentioned, yeah.
And then every now and again, apparently, they have a great big rave where everyone takes their shoes off, gets a bit muddy, and then, you know, orgy time a go-go.
That was weird.
In Zion.
Yes.
And I don't think that helps us. And then a bit of what I would call Star Wars prequels. So a bit of, there's a council, and yeah. And
we need to talk trade routes and trade.
It's like, and yes, Captain Thingy and so this one and Councillor this, and I think we could have. I think it could have been done much better. I think the idea is there, the execution is not. So what I'd really like is for when we get to the end of the film and you're faced with the destruction of Zion, or what's the other? Or Neon goes back to the source and he gets reborn within the Matrix and he chooses so many people, or all that sort of, you know, like start all over again. You're not left with going, give it a shot. No, let's get rid of Zion. Why don't we start again? Because I didn't care about any of the people who were within Zion itself, and that's what's missing. You needed more in there to build empathy and just to make you care about the people who were living in that world, who had been free, you know, because they're meant to be the people who've been freed. So my idea was that there were other Trinities and Morpheuses, and surely there were people who came to realise that the Matrix was a falsity, or who were targeted by people like Morpheus and Trinity and the other people that we meet in this one. And yet they all just seem to be sort of a bit nothingness, you know? So, yeah, I think it really reminded me of the Star Wars prequels from time to time in that first section. And the first fight scene with Smith, when we actually eventually get back into the Matrix, with Neo and Smith, I remember at the time being really blown away by it, with all the multiple versions of Smith. Now it looks terrible. I know when we did our Matrix review in the last episode, you and I had a bit of a disagreement in terms of how the CGI had fared over the years. I thought this was computer graphics. I think it was just incredibly poor. It had no weight to it. Whereas the scenes that I think you're talking about, when you're saying, you know, that half an hour where you were really invested in it, when he was fighting with the Merovingians people, that had weight. It had, you could feel the weapons being used. It seemed, I'm sure there was CGI in there, obviously, because
there
flying
was,
around,
and you could tell, but
it wasn't that sort of grayscale, very just 2000s computer graphics.
Yeah, I mean, so this is bookended with Trinity falling from a building and being shot and stuff like that. And at times, that looked like Sin City, which isn't a bad thing because it's a beautiful shot of just people on, like, but it looks like a drawn background.
Do you mean when she's falling, or do you mean like
the building? When she's falling,
right.
It looks like it's a person against an illustrated background, like Sin City would be 2 years later. I don't think that was intentional, which is unfortunate. Can we talk about the plot of this?
I mean, you can if you.
As much
which bit do you want to talk about?
So, Neo goes to find the key maker.
Yes.
That's essentially a MacGuffin.
Yeah, because the Oracle tells him to.
Yes.
So the Oracle sets everything away.
Yeah.
He goes and sees it. That's the beginning of the vote. We must go and see the Oracle. The Oracle will tell us what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit Wizard of Oz, isn't it? So, go and see the Oracle. Oracle says, go and find this key maker. You find the key maker. He's being held by a Frenchman.
The lockmaster and the gatekeeper and
And he's been making his little keys all the time.
Goza's going to come.
I did think that.
Yeah.
What did you say? The lockmaster?
The lockmaster and the gatekeeper?
Lockmaster.
Is that not what they're called?
Hang on.
Ghostbusters?
I am the gatekeeper. I am the... Oh, what's Sigourney Weaver? Oh, I'm the keymaster. I am the gatekeeper.
Right,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. There
right,
we go.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
God, that's terrible. I can't remember that.
So then they go and find this little key maker. They have a little rook.
Keymaster.
Keymaster.
Oh, no.
No,
Is it
key maker.
Keymaker? No,
Yes,
I'm getting confused. Yeah.
So the key maker.
Yes.
Yes. And then they have a little rook with... What's the name of the French guy?
Oh, the Merovingian.
Merovingian, yeah.
Merovingian.
Merovingian.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of characters in this that I'm not going to know the names of.
Well, I mean, they don't fight with him. They fight with his people.
Yeah, but his people.
Yeah.
The Baluch takes them
Baluch,
away.
yeah.
I mean, she's
amazing.
she's wearing that dress, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
She takes them through a kitchen to find...
For no reason.
Yeah. To lots of doors.
Yep.
He lets them in.
Doors. Open the door, something's there. Open the door, something else is there.
There is a chase in cars
Yep, car chase.
and trucks.
Yeah.
This is awesome, this bit.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed that.
But
yeah.
it feels like they looked at the script and went, we need something in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have an extended fight sequence and chase sequence. But I'm kind of with it for that. And then we go back to just...
Well, then he gets through, the key maker takes him to a building.
Yes.
Random building, just, and then eventually gets through the door to meet the architect.
Who is that guy from the meme, which is, I don't always meet the architects, but when I do, it's a boring sequence in a film.
Yeah. And then the architect tells him, and we've already had signals of this because the Merovingian twice, and I don't think it needed to be twice, says, your predecessors did not defeat me, or your predecessors were never this...
The
and
four
I was
before
like,
you.
Over 50 billion people are... So then the architect explains that he's an anomaly within the programme that has come about. I think this is like the 6th time or something like that, 5th or 6th. And usually, what we're led to believe, because we've got to this point, is the Neo, the former Neos,
Yes.
all chose to go back to the source. They picked their, 7 women, 6 men, or whatever he says, something like that, 9 men, whatever. And then they start Zion off again. I always wondered whether the counselor, the old counsellor guy that seems to want to talk to him all the time.
Yes.
And just for no reason, and it just suggested to me that there was something else there. I wondered whether he was the old, the former Neo. Because if you're thinking about, they've done this however many times, you've got to have someone within the Matrix, within Zion, who was the Neo.
I think
Do you know
you're
what
thinking
I
about this
mean?
more than a lot of people
Yeah,
have.
I know. I think there's an interesting idea. Again, it's interesting idea versus execution, isn't it? The idea
Yes.
that this has happened over and over again. I love all of the nods to computing language, and I probably don't get all of them because it's not my world. But when they talk about duplication, when they're talking about deletion, when they're talking about intuitive programs, and they're utilising the language of computer technology to extend the plot. And it makes sense to me that this anomaly has, of course, happened, and they're doing it again, and they
Someone
let it
knows
run.
a little bit about computer programming.
Right.
Nothing there.
Okay,
Nothing
really?
there.
Was there nothing extra that
I
you
mean,
got?
I know it might just be a little knowledge is very dangerous. I got nothing from that.
Okay.
So, I don't think you're missing out on anything there.
So you started off going, the plot, and we've gone through the plot. What do you have to say about the plot?
It's very inconsequential. I do think that middle section with
You're obsessed with that
with the
middle section, aren't
Mandalorian
you?
or whatever his name is. I will not know his name. Where does that name come from?
Oh, the Merovingian.
Yes.
It's clearly got a nod because Persephone obviously is a name that has a great deal of history attached to it. Everything does in this, but
So the Merovingian, I reckon, is the first race of the kings of France.
oh, okay, that makes sense then. Because he chose the French language because it's good to swear in, apparently.
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Don't you feel that this film has a tonal shift way beyond the... Well, let's just say, the Matrix had love in it and romance, but it felt not asexual, but sex wasn't something that came into it a lot. This film... It's like someone's been whacked over the head with some sort of sex cannon.
That's sexy.
Because there's just so much of it.
Oh, that sex scene between Neo and Trinity.
Where, I mean, it's beautifully shot. It looked very Renaissance, I thought, but we didn't need to see that. I mean, they were completely naked, and it was all it's a bit much. It was proper. A lot of camera shots on people's faces for a long time.
No one needs to see that.
I did not appreciate. And then you've got the Zion orgy going on in the background as well, with like lots of people with no bra on, jingling about. And jingling about. It's the best term I can come up with. It's the best term I can come up with. Then you've got Mr. Frenchman in the restaurant giving the sexy cake to the sexy lady.
I mean, she really enjoyed that because the Matrix went up her. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is it. I think there can be a subtlety. I think there's an interesting thing of like he's clearly cheating on his wife. He's clearly doing all this. It's like a sexual thing, but we don't need to see a computer graphic of this thing happening that literally shows you it going in between our legs.
A flushed face and the eyeballs dilating would have been sufficient.
I think that would have been. Yeah, I think we all knew what was happening, but
as good as a chocolate cake is.
Exactly. You know, when we were watching that, I was thinking about that like million-layer chocolate cake we had in Las Vegas. I'm thinking, bet that cake's still not as good as the one we had there. But yeah, it just seemed. Oh, there was just too much of, like, I'm no prude, but it was too much and too in your face. There was no subtlety to it, and it just felt like they just let's sex it up. More sex, please, was what I felt like there'd been complete change of tone. It's like someone had some sort of awakening in between the first two films and had decided that, you know, romance was out the window and pure sex was in. But it
Even
didn't
then,
feel sexy.
It seemed and it plays no actual part of anything.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
it's just I think someone just said, "Add some shagging in."
It did sort of.
Do you know what the Matrix is missing? Shagging.
Yeah, the first one was a little bit, you know, staid. So we'll just keep putting it in. Just kept going back. So, yeah, and like you say, it's completely inconsequential. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't drive the plot forwards.
And then we get a cliffhanger, which I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Is that character Bane?
Bane?
Is that his name? The one that appears on the table at the end?
Yeah, but it's Smith, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's been taken over by...
Yeah. I don't know what his name is.
I just don't...
Yeah, so Smith's
I met him like 2 hours
not
ago.
in the Matrix. The other thing as well is like Neo at the end is able to control the Sentinels from within the human world.
Yes, yeah.
No. That just completely takes away from the idea that he's, you know, only human and all this. He's human in the they are born and grow in the Matrix. They are human, not in the Matrix, in the real world. And then when they go into the Matrix, they are able to manipulate the system, the computer system. That makes total sense to me. When no one is able, like, they can't I can understand them reprogramming him in inverted commas in the Matrix so he gets greater powers than the others. A bit like when you got, like, you're playing a computer game and you've got a character that's a bit rubbish and then you upgrade them or you get a magic, you know, or you win. You're looking at me now. You know, Sonic collects loads of rings and suddenly gets to run a bit faster, super duper.
That never happened in Sonic.
Does
The
that
rings
not
had
happen?
no effect on Sonic.
Is it not
other
when you
than
collected like 100 of them or something
he
like
gets
that?
an extra life, but it doesn't affect his performance.
How affects his performance? Is it like little...
Nothing affects his performance.
Doesn't he get...
You jump on a box and you get like the
on
twinkly
a box
things.
and a twinkly thing, and then you grab a twinkly thing, and then it makes you go vroom, 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 and you can like really, really speed up, and then you can like... then it goes round the rings really fast.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, I remember that in Sonic. There was a thing that
No one
made you
else
go
does,
super
but-
duper speedy.
Yeah,
But
I know.
You
Yes.
know the concept I'm talking about.
You get
when
the
you've got a
shoes and they make you go
character,
quickly.
That's it. There you go. See, so it's like you can upgrade. I totally get the idea of upgrades within a computer system, and you can understand
Just
that,
not the
that
Sonic
Neo-
world, apparently.
You can understand that Neo is like better than the others because he's had this upgrade. Fine. But when you're a human being, you cannot just put your hand in the air and be like, oh, now I can control technology.
But
it
he's
doesn't
the
work.
one.
Yeah, I don't care. It doesn't sit right with me.
That's like saying that Jesus could only feed the 5,000 in the Matrix.
I don't understand your...
Well, I mean, look,
What?
Neo is like a Jesus.
What character? So you're saying... Yeah, but he is, in terms of him in the Matrix. We're not saying that he doesn't have anything extra special to him in the real world. We see that when he's on the ship. He doesn't do anything. I mean, like, he literally doesn't do anything in the human world that's of any use.
He just wears his
apart
grungy
from,
jumpers and...
You know, yeah, he wears his jumper with a big hole in. He has a lovely time when he goes back to Zion with Trinity. They avoid the party, which is, you know, sensible. And then
It's that party because it's sensible.
Yeah.
A bit swinging.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, who wants to go to that party? It's rubbish. It's too many people. Be all, you know, hot and bothered, and yeah, I don't like parties.
I really want to make a political comment about parties and things like that, but
like
at the
parties.
minute...
So yeah, that just filled me with dread because there were just too many people, and you wouldn't be able to hear anyone talking. So, you know, he's avoided the party. He's having a lovely time with Trinity, but you don't see him being anything other than just, you know, Thomas Anderson. It's when he goes into the Matrix that's when his special skills come out, and that makes total sense in this strange old world.
Thomas Anderson was in the Matrix.
Yeah, but
If anything.
Yeah, okay, but yes.
Yes,
you know
yeah,
what
I
I
know.
mean?
Yeah. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
So I'm not particularly looking forward to Revolutions, I have to say. I kind of... See, we have to get through it in order to get the Resurrections, but I'm kind of hoping that... Now I'm feeling slightly less excited about Resurrections, but I'm kind of hoping that Resurrections really takes us back to the original Matrix.
I think... So my take on Resurrections at the minute is that it will play very little part in what we have just seen in Zion.
Yeah.
If the word Zion is mentioned, I think a lot of people in the audience will go, what? Hang on, what?
And from seeing the trailer,
Yeah.
we haven't seen any cavernous activity.
We've just lived through a Ghostbusters which completely negates the entire thing of Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
it doesn't negate it. It just, it ignores
Didn't
it.
happen. Yes.
Yeah, it ignores it. Yeah.
You know, there's people who've forgotten that the Empire, the Statue of Liberty walked through Manhattan going,
Yeah.
hello, my love, is lifting me high.
See, I'd watch that now.
Yeah, but
Rather than this.
wow. I knew I was down on the first one, but like you seem to be a lot down on this one.
Yeah, I'm not happy. 2 stars.
I'm bordering 2.5 to 3.
Oh, well, you're not that far away from me then.
No, but I think
You keep coming back with your happy, jolly face and being like, oh, I love that bit in the middle.
I mean, yeah, but I think people were saying these was like crimes against cinema.
Oh, no, they're not that. They're not that. It's just disappointing.
Whereas, yeah, I just think that this is a bit of a disappointing sequel that I
Yeah.
kind of wish didn't happen, but...
I'm angry. I'm not angry.
You're not angry.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
I'm not angry. I'm not
angry.
upset. I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
But
yeah.
I think this is not... I think the action sequences absolutely stand up with the first one. And
Apart from the
almost...
beginning.
Well...
That bit with Smith and the multiples, surely you've got to agree with me.
No, I mean, so I don't have problems with the effects in this. I just have problems with like the stakes in it because he's just like just batting them off really easy.
And because he can just fly.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, everything is
He
like...
can just stand there
Deus
and like
Ex flying Neo.
do the Born to Hand jive from Greece and block them all and then just fly away.
Yeah, that's it. And he flies
that's my
everywhere
problem
in
with
this
it.
one. It's like, I'll fly to save Morpheus. I'll fly to save Morpheus and the Kingmaker.
I love the fact that he also does the Superman pose of
Yeah,
like putting his arm in and putting another arm
fly to
out.
get Trinity.
I realise
Yeah.
I'm doing this action, which on a
Yeah.
podcast is not the best.
No, it's not, Mark. No. Right,
But-
can we wrap up?
Yeah, so I don't think this isn't a crime against cinema as people say, and I don't think it's as big a crime against cinema as The Phantom Menace was.
Fine.
That is not necessarily a recommendation.
I haven't seen it for a while, so... but pod racing is all I can think of right now.
Yeah, I really want to shout Vegisaurus legs because that's
Oh,
what that's
yeah,
what you're.
that's like my voice, isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
not Jurassic. See, Jurassic Park, wonderful. Now we're just thinking of films that are better.
But also Jurassic World 2 and 3.
I like them.
Good.
Yeah, I like them better than this.
Anyway, if you want to follow us on socials, we are on Instagram and Twitter at the Honeymoon Pod. And if you would like to leave us a review on iTunes or anywhere else you can leave a review, that'd be much appreciated.
Yes, please, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. And let us know what you think of The Matrix Reloaded, and the next one, which will be Revolutions. Yeah, I remembered it.
So we'll be back in a week with Revolutions, but just keep an eye out on the feed because I think we've got a couple of spoiler specials and other reviews coming up in the next week or so, haven't we? Because there is a hell of a lot coming out this Christmas.
There's a lot coming out. There is a lot.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.